An author and performer from Hamilton is paying tribute to one of Jamaica's most celebrated icons.
She's paying tribute to Miss Lou through performance and a new book.
Folklore, the music, the folk music, the poetry. We have a wonderful heritage.
It's a message that Hernandez continues to share through her new book.
This is part 2 of our Caribbean Heritage Month and Read Caribbean Month conversation.
I think this is a good time to introduce your book. Why did you decide to write it?
The name of the book is Ay, Miss Lou, Voice of the Jamaican People. I want to clue into voice of the Jamaican people. When we say ay, when Miss Lou would do her poems or her monologues, and she did ay, she would make comments about the social, historical things that was happening in Jamaica. And it's a Spanish saying, ay. It could be a statement of frustration or surprise. Miss Lou give us a sense of modification. This modification says, no matter where we go, all over the world, people love Jamaicans by the language they speak. And thanks to Miss Lou, she put us on the international map. When she was in England at the Royal Dramatic Art, when she was on BBC Radio, when she performing in the US, wherever she was, Royal Albert Hall, all over the world, she was teaching about our rich Jamaican cultural heritage and language, the voice of our ancestors, the voice of our people who formed this beautiful culture of music and, by the way, of wisdom. The Caribbean people, Jamaican Caribbeans, we are known to be a people of wisdom and philosophy. If you listen to some of our proverbs, it will show you how deep our wisdom is. Yeah, if you want good, your nose have to run. If you want good, you have to run. You have to work very hard. One cocoa, full basket. Start small and it will come together, right? Our African language, which is part of the patois, nyam. When we nyam, we eat, right? Bankra is basket. Listen, you cannot, if you are going to look down upon patois, what you're doing is looking down upon our people. You are looking down upon our ancestors, our African ancestors. You're looking down upon our culture. It's funny, the world embraces Jamaican culture. They love our patois. Yeah, man, what a go on. Irie, you're nice. People win Grammy Awards with our patois. Not even people who even come from Jamaica or the Caribbean or whatever. Them speak it and them win Grammy Awards. Now it has become a language in the university to study. Miss Lou taught folklore in the universities all over the world. So now she has put us on the map now and show, listen, we are not those bad, uneducated people. Our history of slavery was an interruption. It does not define who we are. It was an interruption, but guess what? Out of it and out of patois and out of who we are as a people, we turn it around. We take everything bad and make it good. You know, in Jamaica, we have this saying, we take bad thing, make joke. And we do that because it's the African way of being resilient. We laugh a lot about things. We take kin teeth, keep a heartburn. We grin our teeth even when we have the heartburn and the pain. The laughter is a tool of resilience. The laughter is a tool that God gave us to overcome. So we might not have all the money, but boy, what we have is wisdom and the ability to push through. And with what we have, we make do with it. That's what I love about our people. That's one thing I can say about the African Caribbean people. What defines us is our resilience. So patois speaks of our resilience, our history, our culture, our revolutionary way of coming back at the colonialists and say you tried to take our voice, but you see this patois voice, you're going tired, fissy with face, can't get we out of the race. Ay, ay, ay. And that's what me say. Miss Tania Lou says so. Sorry, I just went off.
There you go. Hey, that's quite interesting.
Hey, you can go
I
off
love you.
anytime.
Oh my God. She,
Exactly.
as someone who grew up in Europe without any connection to my African heritage, that is what I fell in love with. What you are talking about is exactly what I fell in love with. Seeing people just rejoicing no matter what. The resilience. And they would tell me, why are you sad? Laugh, smile. And I had to learn, and I'm still learning. I'm still not there yet because I just did not grow up like this. I think that all my Polish people were like that. I'm not saying that, but generally, we are a lot more somber, even if the situation doesn't call for that. I don't know whether it's the weather or what, but that is what I fell in love with when it comes to Jamaica, to Caribbeans, to Africans.
Yes.
That's what I love the most, and that's what inspires me the most, and that's what I need so much.
Yeah, you know, I hear that, and I can tell you why. People who tend to go through a lot of suffering, a lot of challenges, we learn to find joy in the simplest things. Is there where we call upon the Father who made us. If everything go well, you see in Canada, we have everything, First Nation. If you have everything good, you see we people, we not too thankful. I could write a book, and I see you with a book right there. What was the book?
This book did so much for me. I was going through a lot at the time. And I told Delvon that many, many times. This was what picked me up. And I thank God that I came across his story and had the opportunity to work on this book. He says he's grateful to me, but I'm grateful to him for the trust and for the opportunity to work on this wonderful story. This is a must read. Absolutely.
Okay, so I was given away at birth, and the woman died when I was 2, and the man drowned when I was 4, and the sister of the woman took me. She took me to another part of the country, a place called Richmond, Zion. And she worked as a domestic helper for the headmaster of Zion High School. And when they retired and moved to the city, they took me with them. And that's the first time I've ever seen houses like that. I lived in a residential area. Eventually, they put me in a school in a ghetto where a lot of crimes happened, but this lady kept school in this Zinco place, and I went there. Then they put me in a Catholic school called St. Patrick's Place of Safety. Then they threw me in juvenile and orphanage homes after that, through the government system. They put me through there. And I end up in Alpha Board School with the Sisters of Mercy, and that's where I learned to play music. I'm making it short. I ended up in the Jamaica Defense Force band, the Jamaica Regiment band. Then prior to that, I left playing with different bands and different guys on the street. Then I got a job with the U.S. Embassy, and that's how I came to America. Green card, came to America, and I battered around with friends who took care of me and all of that stuff. And after that, I found my wife. We married 32 years. But while I was there, I went shopping. And when I walked into the shop, the guy asked me, he says, "You have any family in Clarendon, Jamaica?" And I said, "I don't know, never seen a family in all my life." And I said, "Why?" He said, "You look like Uncle Oswald Campbell." I said, "That's the name of my father," because the third lady who had me went to the register office. She picked up the birth certificate. So I knew my mother and father's name, but never knew them. He decided to call his mother and tell her that there's a guy that looked just like Uncle Oswald. Put me on the phone with her, and she says, "Are you Delvon?" I said, "Yes." She said, "We've been searching for you for 53 years. So they invited me. They invited me to the house, and when they opened the door, it's like I walked through a mirror. Everybody looked exactly like myself.
Oh my
And
God.
they gave me numbers in England. I spent Christmas calling everywhere I could in England. By the time you know it, I had 31 brothers and sisters, 31 siblings. And so
Meet
I
the new
ended up
ones.
in England visiting everybody. Yeah, and I met new ones. Just finished a Turkish trip about a month and a half with relatives that I've never seen, never heard of. But thanks to DNA, I found a bunch. And now we're off to Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, Scotland, and then back to England. Yep. So looking forward to that. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing
And
story. Yes.
you'd be surprised who I'm related to. I saw a picture with Harry Belafonte in my uncle's house, and I'm like, wow. I knew him long before the family thing. I played with him in Carib Theatre in Jamaica, and when I worked for American Airlines and I was in the Admirals Club, he always comes in there. I took care of him, and he's always saying to me, "Run, man, no make the duppy man catch you." Always saying that to me.
Tell people, Bobby, who Harry Belafonte is, because our viewers might not, everyone might know.
He was more on the Michael Manley side of the opposition in Jamaica, and the other side never really liked him. So I remember playing with him in Carib Theatre, and the next day, the reigning Prime Minister gave him 48 hours to leave the country. I knew he sung different
Dale,
songs. Yeah, and
famous.
stuff like right. And
You
so
know,
I knew him as a singer. Yeah, his
Yes.
voice
I
is
have
famous.
to
Yeah.
I have to put in a plug for Barbados. Most of Harry Belafonte's songs was written by a Bajan.
Wow.
Yes, I heard that too. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I heard.
That
Yeah,
is good to know, because I knew that Miss Lou, Honorable Dr. Louise Bennett, mentored him in singing Deo. You know, Deo, me said Deo. But I
Yeah,
didn't
that's
know
right.
all his other songs. It was a Bajan. Thank you for telling me that, because when I do my performances, I would like to let people know that he did get quite a lot of mentorship from different people at different countries.
Tania, he lived in Trelawney. He had a house in Trelawney, right off the main road. So when I was in the army, every time that we pass by, and everybody say Harry Belafonte's house, I say, that house should give you guys $1 each time you pass there. Because
Yeah.
everybody pointing at that house, right? He lived in Jamaica. His mother is Jamaican and his father
Yeah,
is,
America.
yes.
I just found it on Google that Lord Burgess
Yes. Yes.
was a Barbadian American songwriter who collaborated with Harry to popularize Caribbean music.
Yes.
He
That's right.
he also
That's
wrote
right.
the words to the Barbados national anthem.
Anthem, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Interesting.
Yes.
Very
Yep,
nice.
yep.
Now I
Yep.
know who Lord Burgess is.
Yeah.
Yes, the people who wrote helped. Well, they all helped him to produce the song, but I did a cover and they gave me the permission to cover his song. So I have his song on my album, and I did it in a mento fashion. He did his more a calypso. I did my mento, but I felt honored being able to do that music because of him,
Sorry to interrupt, Tanya. You are participating in a competition?
Yes, the Jamaica International Independence Foreign Song Competition. It will be held in Atlanta, July 26th. I am among the finalists, and we are going. So my song is called Jamaica Soul, and I'll just give you a bit of the chorus. There is no place like home, the black, green, and gold. No matter if you're there, a yard or abroad, Jamaica's in my soul. Oh, Jamaica's in my soul.
So how can people
Excellent.
support you? How can people
You
support you?
support is thank you for asking, JIIFSC.com. You will see all the singers. They still want you to vote because it will help the judges to figure out who will be in the top 3. And so we're going to go live. We'll go perform and then they pick the top 3. So JIIFSC.com. As you go in, you see a section for email. You put your email in, then you see our faces down below. You click on my box, Tania Lou, that is my stage moniker. And then at the bottom, you press submit vote. 5% of your votes go towards 5% of the decision. The judges make the 95, but if they see how people are voting, it will sway them. You know what I mean? So thanks for
Oh, yeah.
asking.
Yeah. Okay, so we gave Jamaica enough spotlight.
Enough.
Enough. Let's talk about Barbados a little bit. I really would like you, Ward, to tell us a little bit more about your book as an example of preserving a specific place-based heritage and people. This book is a genealogy book as well. You tell us about it, Ward, because this is your
Sure.
baby.
Sure. So,
It's
as
village
I said, Fitz Village is where my co-author Winston Beard and I grew up. I was actually born there as well, but it actually covers both the history of the island, not specifically the island, but you can look at Fitz Village, the history of Fitz Village as a microcosm of the history of Barbados and even the broader Caribbean. It starts out with the English settlement and the original Fit that came from England, Suffolk in England, and he came as an indentured servant. He's actually part of my ancestral tree, but he invested the small plot of land that he got after his indenture, which became a small sugar plantation. Then obviously it also tells the story of slavery, but not so much as slavery as this atrocious activity that happened hundreds of years ago, but actually through the eyes of the people, because it tells the stories of what became of the slaves that was on that Fit plantation. There were 41 of them. It also talks about people even after emancipation, people weren't totally free. They had to actually spend time on the same plantations where there were slaves for another 4 years, and they were now called apprentice laborers, right? Things that they've been doing all their life, now they're apprentices so they can be paid, just a measly sum. After the apprentice system, it talks about those former slaves that actually made this village this home. All right. Besides the history, I think one of the key things that we really wanted to talk about is talk to it from a people standpoint, put names to those people and show the struggle and the resilience as they, came from absolutely nothing and to set the foundation for the rest of us. So it talks about the transitions, going from a sugar plantation to a fishing village, and obviously later a little bit about tourism, although we didn't get into that in any big detail. But the key thing is, though, the actual culture and the people providing that memory, telling their story.
Nice.
Important. Why is it so important? Why should people read this book? Why should they remember those people?
For one thing, there are our forefathers. Even today, there are people still alive in the village today that descended from them that can trace their genealogy back to them. It tells about the resilience of people. Like Tania was mentioning before, the hardships, but that's what makes us. And I think by telling that story, slavery is not this thing that happened 200 years ago, but here are the actual people that went through it, how they started with absolutely nothing. They actually had to walk to wherever they ended up coming to Fitz Village. There were no homes that they could walk into. So those early homes started out as pure huts based on whatever material they could pull together, basically a roof over their heads to keep the sun out or some place to sleep. That is what they started with. And then look at where we've come, right? That whole journey is a journey of resilience that laid the foundation for the rest of us. I think that is very, very important.
Absolutely is. It absolutely is. But the word that keeps coming back to me is resilience across the board, from you, Tania, from you, Ward, from Delvon and his story. If you had to describe your Caribbean heritage in one word, what would it be, Tania? Just
one word.
just one word.
Well, the Patois word that came was talawa, which means strong and resilient. So talawa.
Patois. Wow, that's 2 words in one. I love it. That's why we love Patois, because it says so much and it's just one word.
It's talawa. And what I'm doing, I'm flipping. Instead of using English, I'm using my forefathers' language.
Absolutely.
So instead of saying resilient, talawa.
Patois. That's strong and resilient.
Yeah, that's
what
it.
it
Yeah. Okay, the saying is we're little but we're talawa. We're little as a little nation and a small people, and through what we've got, you know, we're just a little speck on the map. But with talawa, yes, strong and mighty and enduring, wit and full of humor. So talawa put everything together.
I love
what
it.
Ward said about remembering the forefathers, that they came from nothing and now there's something. The talawa shows that. We just come back and we beat that system like Anansi. Anansi was clever and Anansi beat the system. Even though trickery is not something we like, but in this case, because we had to overcome some bad things that happened to us for 400 years, we are glad we could be like Anansi, that mythological figure of Ghana, of the West African culture, and decide that we're going to fight back with our intelligence to be free, just like everybody else.
So talawa is the word.
Talawa.
Talawa.
Oh, let's just wait. Delvon, before Ward comes back, could you give us your word? One word that describes your heritage, your Caribbean heritage. I'm sure Ward is going to come back.
Oh, you caught me off guard there.
What is the one word that you would use to describe your Jamaican heritage?
I just love everybody.
That's not one word. So
I know.
you are cheating.
That's a good one.
This is the Read Caribbean Month. This
Mhm.
is Caribbean Heritage Month. So our
Right.
focus is on the Caribbean heritage for the time being. So what would it be?
Love.
I
I
got
love it.
Mhm.
I love it.
Mhm.
One love. Yes.
One love all the time.
I-
The reason I'm saying that is I've had family members and friends that say, oh, you just love getting involved with these families, this, that, whatever, and look what they did to you. But guess what? I forgive everybody and I love everybody. Whatever happened to me back then that wasn't good, that's how people were at that time. I still love everybody, beaten or no beaten, you know what I mean? I just love
Absolutely.
everybody.
So we are now going back to the book again, Beyond My Smile. Of
Yeah.
course, you know, you were given away at birth. There was a lot of harm that came to you from people, and yet you continue to smile. And the forgiveness that you've just spoken about, I think that's the key, really. That's another
That's
reason
the
why
key.
anybody who's been hurt at any point in time should read this book. This book
Yeah.
is going to help you overcome, I promise. The subtitle is Rising Above Rejection.
Exactly. And you know, I have to be this way because I've seen one of my sisters, she's angry with everything that ever happened. And I told her, you cannot live like that. You're hurting
No.
yourself. And then she died shortly after. She just like that, you know. I've never kept up whatever happened to me back then with the beatings and the blows with so-called family members and the orphanage. I've gotten tons of I stopped getting beating at 17 when I joined the army. I'm not mad with anybody. That's just part of life. And I'll move on, you know what I mean?
And that's why God bless you so much.
Yeah, I
Because you're
love
full of
everybody.
forgiveness.
Yes.
So we've got Talawa, we've got love, and we are waiting for Ward to hopefully be able to rejoin us. Oh, wonderful. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Okay.
Ekabo.
Yeah.
Ekabo. That was Yoruba, by the way. Ekabo means welcome. Ward, what is your one word that you would use to describe your Caribbean or Bajan heritage? Just one word.
Just a single word.
Just a single word.
They got me before, so think of something.
That one is tough, but
You can do it. We believe in you.
I don't think you can bring it down Caribbean culture or Bajan culture down to a single word. You know, there's so many different aspects, but
Absolutely. But
you know,
the
from
one that would be the most important in this moment, maybe not always, but in this moment.
Hey, she got me on it.
She got you as well.
Yeah,
I would say
but I fixed
one
it. So
key
you
word
can
I would
fix it.
say joy.
Joy. Perfect.
Perfect, perfect.
Yes,
Hey, man,
absolutely.
Hey,
Joy is the word.
we both are hanging in there. I said love, and you said joy, man.
Joy.
They got me on it.
Love and joy is fruits of the spirit. One of
That's
love,
right.
joy, peace. Yeah.
So, in closing, I would like you to reflect on your publishing experience, not so much the process of it, but maybe the post-publishing phase. Are you happy with the results? Did they meet your expectations? Are you happy that you wrote and published the book?
Well, first of all, the book is a gift that keeps on giving. And
Absolutely.
this book, it has now won the International Impact Award. It's now in all the libraries in Canada. I'm able to travel to promote the book and present it. I've done so much presentation. What it does for the Caribbean is to show us that out of many, we are one and we are all the same and we share the same hardships, with history, the culture, and we are one people. It is a book to bring everybody together as a community. So shared experience bring us all together with love, joy, and talawatness. Ay, ay, ay.
And
Ay, ay, ay.
Ward, can you please reflect on your experience post-publishing? Are you happy you did it? What does it mean to you? And how does the book contribute, again, to the larger Caribbean narrative?
Yes, no, definitely. I'm very proud that we've done it. And a lot of that is thanks to you.
Yes.
You know, the really interesting thing is getting the feedback from people. It says it was all worth the effort. Right now, it's just available on Amazon. We're still trying to actually have it available in Barbados, but we haven't got there yet. Overall, extremely pleased with the product, both for myself, for Winston as well. We've gotten feedback from all over, different people through the diaspora. It always makes you feel good when you get that feedback. You know?
Yes. And a call to action to the Bajan people in power, whether in the diaspora or in Barbados. We need this book placed in important places because it gives spaces and voices to the people who did not have them because of slavery. It's an important book, and we need someone to help this book make progress and move. So yes, please reach out to me and let's do something with this book. So call to action done. Delvon, what about you, your post-publishing experience?
Well, I'm very happy the way it turned out. I got to give kudos to Barbara Walters. You probably know her. She questioned me about myself. And then she said to me, I think you should write a book. At that time, I was not interested in writing a book. I didn't know what I was going to write. And a couple of years later, when the family found me, that's when I did the book. And she and the person from the Associated Press, they pushed me to do the book. I did it, and I'm happy about it.
Your book has had so many positive reviews on Amazon, and people from all over the world are inspired by your story, Beyond My Smile. I'm sure its impact is going to continue to grow. Reading is like traveling. It opens your mind. When you read a book, especially books like yours, it takes you to places. I've been able to experience what you have experienced, the joy of Tania's book, the people of Ward's and Winston's book. Then Delvon, the resilience, again, joy, despite all the tragedy that he had to overcome. I do feel like I've been to Barbados. I feel like I've been to Jamaica, and I've never been to any of those places. I'm so glad that I was able to be on this journey with you. Very, very
Thank
grateful.
you. Yes,
Well,
you
you
have
know,
been a wonderful editor and publisher, and we love your wisdom. You have a keen sense. You listen to us, and you were able to organize our books for us to make it be the success that it was. So thank you so much.
You.
I-
Delvon, you
I
want to
agree.
say?
I agree 100% with Tania.
Joy, laugh, talawa. The three words is how I
Yeah.
would describe this conversation. In the description, I am going to leave a link to the books. Thank you so much for celebrating the Read Caribbean Month with us and Caribbean Heritage Month. I really hope we are going to have more conversations like this in the future.